Let's take a trip back in time to ancient lands where history shines. Mesopotamia, where writing began. Sumerians, Babylonians, the birth of man. Pyramids rising in the Egyptian sands. Pharaohs and gods, the empire expands. Priests with his fingers, democracy spark. Olympians ruling from Mount Olympus' heart. Rome, the mighty empire built to last. Legions marching from the past. The Silk Road trade routes, cultures blend. History's tapestry from beginning to end. From conquerors to thinkers, builders, and more. Every civilization added to the law. So let's honor the past, learn from its view. Cause history's lessons, they're forever true. God, just saying.
And let's take a trip back in time. Ancient lands where history shines. Mesopotamia, rising again. Sumerians, Babylonians, birth of man. Pyramids rising in the Egyptian sands.
All right. So today, the book that I chose to talk about is this book that you can see. It's an explanation of Sumerian and Assyrian tablets, slabs, seals, and translations of cuneiform inscriptions. So I'm just going to go over the stuff that I learned in here that I found interesting. Oh shoot, my Kindle just went to sleep on me. So this is from my Kindle. These is basically one of my books that I just downloaded for free. I love the Kindle. The Kindle's, I think, is badass. I mean, nothing beat hard copy books, but having a Kindle, I mean, can't knock that. But on location 339 in this book, he talks about Akhenaten reigning 3,500 years ago in the 18th dynasty. And what I found interesting was he wrote that Akhenaten was the mentor of Moses and other visionaries of that era. So I thought that was pretty interesting because, you know, Akhenaten basically abolished Egyptian polytheism, right? And gave worship to the sun god. So, you know, that's pretty interesting to me. Just I'm not trying to make this into like a real deep thought thing. I'm just trying to remember things that I've read and share it at the same time. So that's all I'm trying to do. Let's see. All right, here we go. We got so he talks about, let's see, this is location 376 of this book. Like I said, you can get it on Kindle. He talks about the Babylonian deities and how they were depicted as angels with or without wings. Most people know, you know, how they look and stuff like that. They called them the Ab-Kelu, and they acted as guardians and basically protectors of worshipers. And he says, and in some instances, they offered their prayers to higher deities on behalf of human beings. Here, I'll show you. I don't think y'all could see that, but that's pretty interesting. I found interesting, at least. Here we go. This one was interesting to me. It was location 413 of this book, and it caught my attention because it mentions Yahweh, and it says Yahweh, comma Ea and Enki create a spring in the Garden of Eden. Well, no one knows really where the Garden of Eden is. That's still an argument to this day, and there's a lot of arguments about whether Yahweh, Ea, and or / Enki is the same person. So, you know, I just found that interesting because that kind of gives me ammunition to knowing that why some people consider Yahweh and Enki being the same. I just know that based off of, you know, reading text like this. So it's not saying that is accurate, that is right, that is wrong, or anything like that. It's just something that I can, like I said, add to my ammunition of knowledge and stuff. So see location 425 of here. Let's see what it says. basically just talks about the great flood, the great deluge. It says, in the old Babylonian epics, we know water played a significant role because of the flood, right? So that's basically what he talks about in the beginning of the first sentence. And then he just talks about, I should have said his name, Maximillien de Lafayette. If you are listening on the road, at least, or somewhere, and you can't see the screen, it's up there on the screen. But he, Zihu Sutra, Ata Hasis, Noah, they're all one and the same. Then there's Unapshishtim. And then you got different individuals, but they all played the role in the Mesopotamian flood story. So I thought that was pretty interesting that he mentions that and gives the similarities between them. Here we go. Location 443 that I found interesting. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I pressed the wrong button. Let me go back up there. 443. There we go. Or it says, okay. Legend has it that Adapa created the spoken and written human language on Earth. Well, from what I understand, Thoth is, in charge of, sharing that part as far as written language and so on and so forth. Then you have so many different individuals who gave, written language to humans according to different mythologies. So just with that alone by itself, to me, just, like I said, it's a legend, because that's exactly what it says. It says legend. That could be found on, like I said, I'm sorry, that's on location 440. I'm sorry. Well, let's go to the next one, because I know I hit 443. I don't know why I went to 440. Yeah, see, that's crazy. So I hit 4. So I'm looking at it right now. I highlighted it as 443. I hit the thing, and it tells me location 440. So that's why it's always important to, share where you get your information from, because, somebody will tell me to read a book and won't give me a location where they read the book at. So I have to read the whole thing, but then not knowing on their part that, sometimes some people explain things differently in different times. Like they might explain it, they might say something in the beginning of the book, and by the end of the book they'll explain it, or they might say half of it in the middle, or to me, it's just all over the place, depending on, what kind of text you're reading and where you're getting your information from. So we got, let's see, location 440 or 454, because I don't know what's wrong with that 440. I don't know why it keeps going to that, but it's location 454. It talks about Anu and how he's the chief god of the Anunnaki, and most people knowing that. And it gives you, that An, which is the Sumerian, which is very important, / Chaldean noun. I have an 1873 Bible, and it actually says Sumeria. The Sumerians and the Chaldeans are one and the same. It's just linguistic changes it on whoever wants to create a narrative for those group of people. So that's something that I found. I know a lot of people know Anu is the word for the Anunnaki god. People know it as Anu, but that's actually Egyptian. So when people say Anu, they're using the Egyptian version. And when they say An, they're using the Sumerian / Chaldean version. So it's important to understand that when you say Anunnaki, Anu, that's the Egyptian way of saying that God's name. And like I said, if you want to say the Mesopotamian, you'll say, or at least the Sumerian Chaldean way, you'll say An, A-N. Let's see, next thing that I found interesting. Here we go. Yeah, 470 says in Sumerian, An means sky and high. The word An was commonly used by Iranians, Phoenicians, Elamites, Sumerians, Sub-Barians, Akkadians, Madites, and Kassites. So, it's just linguistically, trying to figure out who is whose is the hardest thing, because one name would be one way, and then another name would be another way. Location 492. Hold on. 492. Akkadian inscriptions of the creators of man in order. Okay, so basically the word for God in Sumerians is Dingir, Dingir, and it's also a word for star. So one and the same. You just gotta figure out which way they used it, basically. Let's see. Hold on. Our location 509 of this book, it talks about an Akkadian clay tablet that goes back from 2400 BC to 2200 BC. And let's see, it just gives you a listing of gods in order of seniority, starting with Enlil, Ninlil, Enki, Nergal, Hendersaga, Inanna, Sablama, Ninebog, and Anana, U2, and Nana. So I thought that was interesting. You would have to probably just see to understand it, but if you're interested in this book is good. I mean, it gives you the basic information and it helps you. I mean, you can research it for yourself. Not everything in here, I believe, is accurate, only because new information came out, but it's very small information about that. Like, okay, here's my next one. Location 836 of this book, it says the Shurab or Cherubim is the Hebrew masculine plural. And let's see, the word is borrowed from the Assyrian Kurubu, from Karaba, which means to be near. So take that how you want. I'm not even going to try to get in deep depth in that and make no argument about that. Let's see. Here we go. Why did I highlight this important? All right, so I'm gonna just read what it says, what I highlighted, because I don't know why I highlighted. Maybe I'll get it as I read it. The Prophet Muhammad, who lived in a village at the center of dates culture, consecrated the fruit. They were his favorite food, described as God's bounty in the Quran, where it is mentioned no less than 26 times. According to Islamic tradition, a date tree was said to be the tree of life in Garden of Eden, and to have sheltered and provided a rich food source for Mary when she was pregnant with Jesus. Okay, now I see why I did that. I don't even need to talk anymore about that. That's pretty interesting. Oh yeah, here's another one. This is what I always found interesting. In ancient Samaria, the bee was considered as a divine bird. That's what Maximillien de Lafayette says. It's pretty interesting because you got depictions of birds. They give you some. He gives you some cylinder seals that gives you an idea of it. I didn't take any pictures of it because I'd rather you just go get the book yourself. It's free on Kindle. Let's see. That way you support the author who wrote this too. Location 1599. Let's see. Why did I knock this out, or why did I highlight this? Okay, so basically it's a story of Yahweh fighting the dragon. Okay, so the story of Yahweh fighting the dragon basically originated in a Phoenician story of Baal fighting the dragon. Baal, I've heard people say it all different kinds of ways, but Baal, that means Lord too, through linguistics. So that's pretty interesting too. So you can look that up. Let's see. Last thing that I highlighted, and this would be the end of today. So I highlighted Lamassu, Lamassu. It's a Babylonian, Sumerian, Akkadian, Assyrian noun. Okay, so Lamassu was depicted as both a demoness and a benevolent protective deity. The Hebrews depicted her as a demoness witness who steals babies from their mothers and compared her to Lilith. So, okay, yeah. So when people always talk, when individuals talk about who Lilith is and all this other stuff, from his book, I learned that it was Lamassu, Lamassu. And the Hebrews depicted her as a demon who steals babies from their mothers and compared her to Lilith. In ancient Sumerian, she was called, I want to say Dimme, Dimme. So Dimme is Lilith / Lamassu. So Lilith in Sumerians as the origins, as the oldest version of Lilith would be Dimme, Dimme. And the Babylonian, Sumerian, Akkadian, it's Babylonian, Sumerian, Akkadian, Assyrian now. Okay, so, yep, that's it. All right, y'all got some knowledge. Peace.